Hi everyone. This video is to explain to you how to do uh, discussion boards in my classes. And of course my dog Annie is going to assist me, or at least she was. So anyway, let's go ahead and talk about what discussion boards are for. You may have seen discussion boards in other classes, and maybe you respond with one posting a week, and your teacher says, well, you have to respond to two more, and you're like, oh goodness, how do I do that? um, I get it. I was a student in college as well, and online learning when I was in college was just getting started. But think of a discussion board this way. Think of it as we are having a class period where we're having discussions back and forth with each other, but it lasts for the whole week. It's not like a 1 hour class. So every week, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up with a question, or usually a question or a statement, and then you'll have to respond to it. Then, as the week progresses, you should respond to your classmates as well, or they'll respond to you, and you can actually have discussions. So I think the best way to go about this is two ways. One is go ahead and open up the procedures and rubrics for discussion boards folder. And when you look in there, you're going to see two documents. One, you're going to see, and that's in addition to this video. So one, you're going to see the how to view the grid view. And so go ahead and open that document, go and do the instructions there, because grid view is going to give you a better look at the discussion boards than the standard view is. So go ahead and do that. The other is the rubric, which I've printed up here, but it's also in electronic form in that folder. And this is very important because I will be grading you on your participation in these discussions. Just like if we were meeting in a classroom physically, I would be grading you on whether you participate in a discussion or whether you sleep through class. So, first of all, I want you to, as you read through the rubric, take note of this. The purpose of these discussion boards is for the students to help each other understand the readings. Some weeks these readings are going to get a little complicated, and people are going to have questions. So I'm going to try to start with a question that will clear things up for you. But if you're struggling, maybe ask a question as your first posting, and maybe some of your fellow students can respond. I will check in periodically throughout the week, and I will raise more questions based upon how the discussion's going, or I may need to redirect the discussion. Whatever it is, make sure that you check in no later than Wednesday, because as we look through this rubric, your first posting has to be done by Wednesday, which means you have to have read the material by then. So your first posting should be by Wednesday, and by the time we get to the end of the week, a lot of it should be back and forth, and there's no limit to how many times you can respond. Just because there's a minimum of 2 responses doesn't mean you stop at 2. If you have 6 things to say 6 things. So treat this as if we were in an actual classroom rather than in electronics. So how will this work? I've got it down here, right? The first posting I'll post on Monday morning. You should respond to that by Wednesday. There are a minimum of 2 responses by week's end, which is usually Sundays at 11:59, although I would check in on Thursday or Friday, see if people responded to you, or see if maybe you have you see something that you can respond to as well. Maybe you can help another student out. If you understand a reading and the student's struggling, your classmate's struggling, maybe you can help that classmate out. And then, of course, we have a rubric, and there are 5 different criteria which I'm going to be grading you on. One is promptness and initiative. If you don't post your first posting until Sunday night at 10 o'clock p.m., you're going to get a low grade on that portion, if you get any kind of a grade at all. Then the mechanics. Just because these are discussion boards doesn't mean that you can misspell your words, doesn't mean you can talk in sentence fragments, doesn't mean your punctuation can be off. This is an English class after all. So I'm going to hold you to a collegiate English standard, especially since if you're taking my British Lit class, you've already taken English 1101 and 1102. So the mechanics are important as well. And then the relevance of the post. So are you addressing the question? Or if you do take the discussion in a new direction, is it from that question and you go to a different direction? So make sure that you don't post any red herrings, which if you've talked about logical fallacies, a red herring is throwing out information that's irrelevant to the discussion. So make sure that your postings are relevant to the discussion going on. We want to create community, and this is where I grade harshly if somebody insults another student, or if somebody resorts to name calling, or if somebody resorts to profanity, things like that. So the creating community portion of the rubric is where you're going to want to make sure that you are respectful towards each other. If you disagree, that's great. Disagreements are great. I love disagreements because sometimes through the argumentative phase of the disagreement, maybe we can come to a consensus of some sort, a little give and take. But if you say to somebody you're an idiot, you're probably going to get a 0 on that portion of the rubric that week. So create a sense of community, create a sense of we're helping each other, not we're trying to tear each other down. And then the analysis and the critical thinking. This is the most important thing about any college level class is the critical thinking element. You must develop the ideas of processing information up here and coming to your own informed conclusions. So as you read the readings throughout the semester, you're going to want to make sure that you actually come to a conclusion that you've thought through well and be able to back that conclusion up because somebody may disagree with you. So, think of a courtroom. The district attorney is trying to convict somebody of a crime and they present evidence in front of the jury to say, hey, this is why this person committed the crime. The defense attorney, in turn, takes evidence and says, hey, look at this evidence. This evidence proves that my client is not guilty. So think of it like that. So if you disagree with somebody, present your own evidence. If you make a point, present your own evidence. Make sure that you have thought this through and that this is not one of those, I'll give you an example of a bad posting response, right? There's a very funny video that teachers see all the time where some guy in a math class says 2 + 3 = 5. And another student comes in and says, wow, I like how you took 2 different numbers and created a whole new number out of it. That was awesome. I don't want to see that kind of sarcastic nonsense in my class either. When you respond, have a thoughtful response and make sure that, it's a respectful one. So we are trying to learn in this class, and we are trying to get better at taking the information in front of us and critically thinking about it and coming to informed conclusions. So help each other out. Don't tear each other down. Contribute to the discussion. Do it in a timely fashion. And you should do just fine on these discussion boards throughout the course of this semester.